Okay, so here's what I want to know.
Yeah.
I want to know, okay, so you mentioned before we started rolling that you are a pretty intense person.
Yes.
I mean, not that we can't tell, but I mean, that's good.
Okay.
Okay, but what's fun for you?
Yes, I do love the beach. I love the water. I love boats. I love jet skiing. So we go out boating. I live near the water, so I'm very blessed. And Nick and I love going out boating. I love jet skiing. I love all manner of physical activity and paddle boarding. So I do that kind of stuff. Play tennis. I took up tennis at 50. Because
what?
I took up tennis at 50.
Say that one more time. You're what?
That is
I'm going to be 51 next month.
Wow.
51 and proud of it.
Well, yes, but
my guns are not as good as Priscilla's, but you can tell. There's a bit. Oh, she's got like killer ones, but they're there.
And that's why she wore her sleeves.
Do you want me to do some push-ups? Look at this.
Oh.
Can I get on your back though?
Let's start a competition. Priscilla.
Okay, I want Priscilla to do 20 more.
I want 20.
Sorry, I'm 51.
Of those.
I could do 20.
I know you can do 20.
I just didn't want to show you up.
Don't be trying to show people up.
My six-pack was showing, so I didn't want to show it.
It's just facing the carpet. Just face down.
I didn't want anyone to stumble.
Okay, because
You want to show all the fineness off.
What could I do?
Because everybody sees, okay, preach the word, run, propel, 821. I mean, just, and you're zipping
Activate.
from continent to just everything.
Yes.
Okay, but then I'm like, okay, how does she de-stress?
I do. I have loads of fun. Like, you got to understand. I love going to great restaurants. I love hanging out with people. So how I do what I do and enjoying the journey as I go is as important as what I do. So when we say I'm intense, I'm intensely focused, like laser focused in terms of I'm on mission. You know, like Jesus. Like, I'm so like Jesus. I'm exactly like Jesus. But
get your point.
he said,
on focus.
I'm about the Father's business.
Right.
My food is to do the will of Him who sent me. I can, you know, no matter what, that really is my driving force.
Okay.
So
Has always been?
pretty much since I got saved.
And when you got saved when you were?
20. I fully really would say I became a disciple of Christ at 21.
Okay.
Yeah, and so you know, and from there, I've probably not looked back. I've been as intense, but I have fun as I go. You know, and so there's lots of room for great meals, great conversations. I love the world. I get to travel to every continent of the earth, so I make sure that we stop and we go and see stuff, and we take the kids with us. So it's good.
Okay, now your husband though, I mean, just from appearances, he seems to be very cool. He just seems to be cool.
He's very cool.
As a cucumber.
Very reserved.
Yeah.
So y'all have been married? You got
21 years.
Okay, 21 years. So when you got married, you had been doing your thing for a minute.
Yeah.
So how did that work?
It was, well, he knew what he was getting. So the fact is that when I didn't think we were going to get married, because, you know, I had such a broken past, I really did. And so I had walked away from a relationship to follow Christ at 21. And I was doing more single for the kingdom than most married people that at the time I knew. And so I thought, well, to be full on for God, I want to be a missionary, I want to change the world, I must have to stay single. That's what I thought. So then Nick came along and messed that up a little bit, you know, and we got engaged.
As he does.
But then my pastor called me into the office and asked me to take over Youth Alive, which was the state youth movement for our denomination. And you know, that would mean that I would have been on the road 9 months of the year, being an itinerant evangelist, essentially, with youth group and youth ministries. And so I thought, well, of course I couldn't get married. There was not a woman that I'd ever seen do that. And the only sort of role model you kind of had a Billy Graham, you know, would do that. And so I thought, okay, and I literally thought, this is, God is my witness. I thought, isn't God kind? He let me get engaged, and then it was a test to see if I would really choose the call of God first. But then he let me get engaged so that when I'm older, I would always know somebody wanted me. And that I gave... This is how my brain works, okay? It's like, you know, martyr for the cause, because I really know what that would be. And so I called Nick, and I said, Nick, Pastor Brian has asked me to take over Youth Alive, and, you know, so I guess... Really, I was a bit heartless. I went, so I guess this is the end, you know, like, and he was a bit upset, and I thought, like, why are you upset, you know?
How long did you dated by then?
So from the day I met him to the day I married him was 18 months, so this was probably at about the 12-month stage. And so and he goes, Christine, he goes, this is phenomenal news. And I went, like, what do you mean? I'm going to be traveling like non-stop. And he said, oh, what am I supposed to tell God? Am I supposed to, when we die, am I going to say to God, sorry God, I was so insecure. I needed someone to wash my undies and iron my shirt. And so I'm sorry for all the millions of people that went to hell, but I needed Christine to stay home and do the cooking and cleaning. And I went, wow. I could marry that. I could marry that. And that was and so we only ever started like that. So for the first 6 years, Nick ran a business and funded what we did. And then when I was pregnant with Catherine, that's when we started to do it together as a family. And then I had a older woman in the faith that is just unbelievable, and she has a large ministry. And so back then I was 35, about to have my first child. Oh, I didn't have rockets. Okay, so she's my Mama Joyce. So she said to me, Christine, what are you going to do about a nanny? To which I didn't think, why would I need a nanny? I didn't even know why, you know. I had only worked with teenagers. I'd never held a baby. I didn't realise you have to change diapers and do those things. And so I was busy preaching, saving the world to Christ, and with, you know, dirty diapers. And so she said to me, well, you're going to need help if you're going to continue to travel and do what you do. And it says from there, and now we're 15 years on, she's, you know, helped to cover my nanny and travel so that I could have help with me on the road as I go. So God has made a way
He's made it clear that you were supposed to do what you're supposed to do and continue doing it.
Yeah.
Even when, okay, so because you're intense.
She's very intense.
But I'm humorously intense.
Yeah, but here's my question. Okay, so a lot of women who are intense struggle to relax and have fun. I mean, I'm sure you've got to run into women who are like that, and you're just like, just relax.
Yeah, I'm like, take a chill pill. Some people do need to take a spiritual laxative because they're so intense. They just need a catharsis and they need to chill. So if you worry about the stuff you shouldn't worry about and get, you know, the Bible says be anxious for nothing. So I'm not anxious. There's a difference between being urgent and panicking. So I don't live in a stressful environment. I don't live in a panicked environment. I'm not anxious. I'm urgent and I'm missional. So laughter does good like medicine. I laugh almost more than anybody that I know. Like, I've been known to literally pee my pants laughing. That's how much I laugh.
This is the question. Did it happen before kids or after kids? Girl, let me tell you, I know every brand of panty liner ever because I've tried
because
them
of
all.
that.
I need to know which one is actually effective.
Because, well, you know,
because it happens.
Of course it happens. And but you know, I'm postmenopausal now. So you know what the miracle is? I've got a patch. Do you want to see? Like,
I just got nervous.
I've got a patch.
Is she taking her pants off?
No, I'm showing you my patch.
But does what? What does the patch?
It gives you, like, because I had that estrogen, and I had and so
where is the patch?
Right,
I thought you pulled it out of your pocket.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
So you just
it's
whack it on.
estrogen?
Estrogen, fantastic. So it's good for your sex life. So because you know what happens, like when
Everything
you
dries
I'm
out.
51, it dries up, and so
Bobby,
I'm 37.
But the Lord is so good because, like, we live in the 21st century.
He can give you a patch.
I'm all about patches and supernatural healing. I can just pray as I lay hands on myself as I stick it on, and so then I believe in it all. You know, it's like fantastic. So
how often do you have to apply? Because you know, people want to know now. But
I've never heard of it. No, because I want to set people free. Because there's a lot of postmenopausal women. And I'm just suffering in right now. They're suffering in silence, and it's very painful for them. And then they just start making excuses not to, you know, because it's painful. That's the bottom line. So go to your doctor, get a patch. And who knew? I want you to know, and I want it on the formal record. I never went to it, but I did discover, since we're having this little open theory, there is such thing as a vaginal PT.
What?
Physical therapy.
Physical therapy.
Kegels, like Kegels,
Every man wants to sign up for that job, but it is a proper profession. I went, no, the patch will do. Just
I mean, this is beyond Kegels.
You go to a.
It's like stretches
And
and,
then
rubber
yes,
bands for
yes,
strength
ma'am.
and resistance.
We don't need that.
And you know, it was I was having a pap smear, and my female doctor was just talking like it's highly normal. Would I want to go and see
a vaginal physical therapy?
That's exactly what she said. I nearly choked. No, I went, I've got a boundary. You know, just
it's okay.
I just couldn't
let my vagina be what it is.
So I don't know if you've ever heard of this, but
No, I've never heard of this.
I've never heard of either one of these things. But there's hope.
Why do you think? Particularly in Christian circles, like we don't talk. There's so many things we don't talk about.
That's
so then everybody's right, and then everybody's suffering. Is why do you think that is?
Because I think there's shame issues associated with it. Somehow we think we forget God has created us body, soul, and spirit, and He cares about all three. If this thing, if our bodies were not important, and if God created us and as women to be married, to enjoy sex, and our bodies are going to change over a season. It was different for me at 30. At 30, I was single, so it was very different to when I was 35 and married. I just want to state that for the record. But you know, when you start having kids, it all changes. And then when I went through the change of life young at 47. And so it was like, if I've got a good 30 or 40 years ahead of me, I can make a decision about how this is going to be. And so I've just met so many older women that were just not happy and not joyful, and it was not great for their marriage either. And I thought, there's enough temptation out there for our men as it is. I don't need to be adding to it, but if you could get some kind of like help. And I think if women just understand that it's not any less holy to talk about the fact that we have needs, our bodies have needs. God created our body, it is sacred, it is holy, and there is so much available to us that, so why not get all the help we can?